Oh yes, it's coming in 3, 2, 1. On the air with FDT-TV, the premier West Ham and Arsenal football podcast, brought to you every Monday by Michael Hawes and Ian Varker.
Hello and welcome to episode 28 of season number 2 of On the Air with FDT-TV. As always, I am Ian and I'm joined
Mike.
by Mike. And we're here to talk nonsense about football. But first things first, there's been a few big things that have gone on in the UK today, Mike. Number one, a shit I had about 10 minutes ago. Number two,
Nice.
We're all free again. As of, I think it's next Thursday, there's no restrictions, whatever. Doesn't matter if you've got COVID or not.
No more cheeky time off work for people.
No, I don't. What I don't want to say is I don't want to say it all lines up with the Epstein cases sort of going away or another person ending up in prison. Dead in prison, sorry. Once that's all now gone, COVID's disappeared all of a sudden. Interesting. That's for a different podcast. This is football. But anyway, how's your weekend been in terms of football, Mike?
Yeah, messy. Don't remember a lot of it. I just remember having a good old catch up with yourself.
Yep.
Watching the very end of the West Ham game, listening to it on the drive down. It sounded like a bit of a one-sided game, if I'm being completely honest. Obviously, we didn't see much of the second half. Caught the last 10 minutes of that or so. The Arsenal game, obviously, didn't get to see because it was on TV. Watched the highlights of it.
Yep.
Looked like we absolutely dominated them. Stupid goal to concede in the second half, but it's another 3 points. I'll take it. And yeah, that's pretty much my weekend of football. About yourself?
Pretty much the same, really, wouldn't it? Watching the ticker just before I met up with you, and it was like, Newcastle all over us, and then we scored, and then they scored, and seemingly, I only watched the highlights. That's how bad it is. But yeah, I suppose that's what happens when you spend a day drinking, and then Sunday you got to do all the things you were meant to do on Saturday as well.
Yep.
But yes, so. What does that do for the points then in terms of football? Or predictions, I suppose.
So going back to the predictions, just a quick recap. West Ham versus Newcastle, you had 2-0 to West Ham, I had 2-1. Obviously the score was 1-1, so it's no points for either of us. Arsenal versus Brentford, you had Brentford down as a 1-0 win. I had 3-1. I was very gutted because I'm adamant I had 2-1. But yeah, the score was obviously 2-1 with Brentford scoring with the last kick of the game. So that's a point to me. So 1 point to me for the week, 0 points to you. So that puts the total season scores at you're on 38 and I'm now on 32.
Yeah, mate, in fairness, I just want you to catch up a little bit. We lose that trophy. I won't hear the end of it, will I? You've ruined me life.
Exactly. Exactly.
And one thing that we again forgot that was going on, big sport event. We Kelbrook battered Amir Khan, which was
wasn't even close, was it?
No. I don't think anyone believed it would be close. I think in the second round, Amir Khan showed a little bit of hand speed, but yeah, a little bit too late that fight. Both past their primes. But anyway, that leads us on then to this week's fixtures, I suppose. So coming in at number 1, hang on, that's the wrong button, is Arsenal Wolves.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one because West Ham also play Wolves a bit later on in a week. So what's your prediction for this one?
Okay, so just looking at recent history with Wolves, they have been a bit of a bogey team for us. Obviously, we lost twice against them last year. Some contentious decisions, some would say. But we obviously did the number over them a couple of weeks ago. Now, Wolves, again, are having a fairly good season. I think they're 2 points behind us. And they have played a game more. But this is one of our COVID fixtures that were postponed, I think, the last lot in December. when they were cancelling games left, right, and centre. But just looking at Wolves over their last two performances since we played them, I think there's going to be a little bit more about them in this particular fixture. Hopefully, we'll keep 11 players on the pitch this time. I'm not counting my chickens, but Martinelli will be back or will be available again after his 1 game suspension for his 2 yellow card offences, ultimately leading to a red from the last fixture.
Yep.
But I've got to say, I thought Emile Smith-Rowe was pretty good when he come on the other day. Did we try something different and put Martinelli up top, or do you still put Laka in? I suppose with Laka being the captain now, he kind of has to start a bit, and he obviously does a lot more than score goals for us. So he's very much the target man, holds the ball up really well. I think we would miss him if he was out of the team. So I think this one is going to be another one of those games potentially if Wolves come at us and score first, then there'll be trouble. But if we start brightly, which I think we have done in the last couple of games, then potentially we can get something out of this particular game. But we've had 2 games that we've won in the last 2 fixtures.
Yep.
Obviously, January was a bit of a torrid time for us. I would like to think we've turned the page, but I can see potentially a bit of a banana skin on this one. So I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for 1-1.
Fair enough. I think Wolves are that team this season who are very slowly but surely, sneakily creeping up and up the table, because they didn't have the best of starts, did they? And then, all of a sudden, so I just looked at the table just beforehand, and they're 2 games in hand on us and only like 3 points behind. So difficult one. I'm going to say this could be a boring game because neither team are particularly sort of prolific in front of goal at the minute, and it's going to come down to I'm going to go for a 0-0.
Okay.
I think this is a game of who has the better defence, but I think it's just going to be a bit of a bore draw, if I'm honest. And then that takes us, I suppose, on to the next fixture, which is West Ham Wolves. And as I said, there's not really much to change about that. The only thing going for us is Wolves will have played 2 games in 5 days, 4 days, something like that.
Yep.
So that will help us in some respects. The fact that we are in horrendous form at the minute, I think we will nick a goal, but I think we're going to go down 2-1 to Wolves. We've lost we've lost 4 out of the last 5 against them. And I don't see this poor form ending. And it's 2-1 to Wolves.
Okay, I'm going to go for slightly different, same as us. I'm going to go for 1-1. I think the home advantage will be a benefit for you guys. And I actually think that you guys are going to score first with Wolves equalising. So I think you'll score in the first half. Wolves will score in the second half.
Fair enough. And that does actually lead us quite nicely into the bonus game of the weekend. Now, we don't have it very often. West Ham should have been in this final because we knocked out the holders who hadn't been beaten in like 4 years. But not that I'm bitter about it. The League Cup. Chelsea take on Liverpool at Wembley for the Carabao Cup. What's your take on that?
I'm kind of split on this one. I do think the right 2 teams are in the final. And to be honest, I think had Arsenal been in the final, had we decided to turn up against Liverpool, I could have seen us going all the way in this. But Liverpool, that they are in a different class again. So obviously the season which they won the league the first time in 30 odd years had a bit of a torrid season last year, but they are the ones that are pushing obviously Manchester City all the way they're going to be pushing them all the way to the end. I think again we've seen Manchester City obviously drop points at the weekend against Spurs. It was a very disappointing game for City, I think, but luckily to get the penalty right. No, they weren't lucky, but very rightly so to get the penalty right at the end because it was a blatantly obvious handball. However, I think with some of Liverpool's results that they've had already this season could potentially be the reason as to why they miss out on the title again this year. Because I do think it's going to be very close, but I think City are going to have enough to win the league. I'm actually going to put Liverpool as favourites on this one. I'm going to go for a 2-1 to Liverpool. I know when it comes to finals and stuff, they're not really massively scoring games. But again, I think this is going to be one of these ones. Obviously, Chelsea, they've had the Club World Cup, which they've just won.
Yep.
So they could be riding on a bit of a high, but they've been a little bit inconsistent this year. And I think that Liverpool will have too much room. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 to Liverpool.
Fair enough. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go for a Chelsea win. And the reason being, they've had a warm weather training camp in Dubai for a couple of weeks. So that will help rest and recover any of their players who've been out. I know they've been struggling in front of goals, but Tuchel's record for getting them to finals and in finals is quite phenomenal at the minute. So I think he'll continue that, and then there'll be some excuse about it's been too windy out, so we've not been able to practice. And from Jurgen Klopp. Not that he's done that before. I mean, it'd be a new thing for him. But I'm going to go. I'm going to go for a bit of a blowout. I'm going to go 3-0 Chelsea.
Oh, okay.
Now that might be a little bit
optimistic.
Yeah, but I'd like to see it. I mean, I know it's Chelsea, but I'd like to see it just to shut fucking Liverpool people up.
Yeah. I mean, that I would say that I would want Chelsea to win this final out of the two clubs, just because the majority of Liverpool fans really piss me off because they're so blinkered.
They're now coming out the woodwork with that. Well, yeah, but we've won the Champions League. I mean, not the current holders of the Champions League, are you? Like, what have you won recently? Nothing. You like Tottenham? Nothing.
Slightly better than Tottenham.
Well, based on 3 players. Now, here's the thing, right? I just read an article not too long ago. It was about 15 minutes ago, where what's his face, Conte, has sort of come out and said between the lines he regrets taking the Tottenham job.
Yeah.
There's a lot more work there to be done. The squad is very, very weak, and he was under the impression he'd be able to walk into a club that should be competing and could make them compete with some emphasis on run around, you lazy fuckers. But that's not quite the case.
It was it was a strange appointment for me, that a manager of his calibre was able or agreed to sign for Tottenham. I know they did make some recruitments in the window, but nothing you would say as kind of like a stellar signing or a marquee signing. But at the same time, maybe he's been sold a lie. And maybe they may make that marquee signing come the summer. Obviously, the January transfer market is a difficult market anyway. But I don't know. It's a tough one.
I think he'd be gone by the summer. I think he'd walk out.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think there was promises made because they tried to lure him in the summer, didn't they? And he didn't want anything to do with it because they didn't want to buy ready-made stars. They wanted to work with their own youth system. And he didn't like that. He wanted to buy, obviously, his own players. They've obviously made him some promises or given him something really financially lucrative to draw him through the door. He's done it. He's coming. You have to say, arguably, they do look fitter. They don't stop running as quickly as they did. The quality is still not there. But I don't think that's a case of the manager's fault because they went through Poch, who, although I wouldn't say he's an elite manager, he's definitely up there with getting into Europe places. So he couldn't make it work. Then come in Mourinho, who is a winner, who couldn't make it work. And then they brought in Espirito Santo, who was even worse. And now they've brought in Conte, who's a world-class manager that can't make it work. So I think it's more than just it's the playing stuff. And they sold Dele Alli, and he was quite happy to get him off the books, seemingly. But you've still got the likes of Harry Kane in there, who we all know wants away. You've got Ndombele left, didn't he? He was their record signing, he left. You've got Son in there, who I think his head will be on the swivel for, can I get a move to Man City or Liverpool in the summer? I think there's a lot of players who want out there. You got Hugo Lloris, 5 years ago, phenomenal goalkeeper. Now he's all right, but where's the contingency plan? Do you know what I mean? The longevity. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Do you think they will make Europe, Mike?
Possibly the Conference League again. And I'd say that's one of the things that's possibly been a bit of their downfall this year as well, in terms of their league position, because I think they've had some difficult fixtures in terms of having to travel to the arse end of nowhere.
Yeah. So
obviously that then takes or training and recovery days a bit longer, because you've also got to factor in the travelling as well. I'm trying to make excuses for Tottenham, because I don't give a shit if they win or lose.
Yeah.
But I would say that's definitely got to have some sort of impact on them.
Yeah.
But given the fact that we've still got 3 games on them, I think, granted, a couple of those fixtures are going to be difficult ones. We've still got Chelsea and Liverpool to play. So, I mean, even if we were just to win 1 out of the 3, that still leaves us above them points-wise. And like I mentioned, or like we've mentioned over the last few weeks, it's definitely going to be one of the tightest top 4. Up to 4th place is definitely going to be the tightest one that we've seen for many a season.
Yeah.
We've said it, Manchester City and Liverpool definitely going to be the ones challenging for the title. Chelsea, I think, are going to be nailed on 3rd.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be a fight between us, yourselves, Wolves, Spurs, for that 4th place.
Yeah.
I think personally, again, if depending on what games we win out of our games in hand, that would put us above you, because we're level on points at the moment. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one, but I personally would say, with how inconsistent the Spurs have been this season,
yep,
I would say Conference League for them.
Yeah, it's fair. I think Manchester United will muck it out. I do think you'll get the 4th place. I think defensively, out of all the teams, you're the most solid, and you've shown that you can sort of start grinding out some of these results. Here's the thing: West Ham are teetering on that very dodgy, what they called seesaws of a few more bad results. We're going to be the out of form team in the Premier League. We've then got to travel somewhere in Europe. I don't know. I don't think that the Europa League draw's been done yet. They're selling tickets that are quite expensive. Let's have a look. Europa League fixtures. I don't think the draw's been done yet. No, it doesn't look like it has. So we could be. Or has it? Thursday nights, isn't it?
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure there's some games this week.
There is, but I don't know who we're playing.
I don't think you're playing this week.
No, we're not. Why are we not playing this week? That doesn't make sense.
I think it's because the amount of teams that are left in there, because you had people dropping in from the Champions League, and also I think a couple of teams from the Conference League have gone into the draw.
Right, okay. So that would make sense.
Because there's an increased number of teams, they can't obviously fit all the games in on one day, so I think they're spreading them out.
Yeah, that would make sense. But say it doesn't look like we've had a draw for who we're actually playing. I think in some senses, I think we need to draw Barcelona. And I know that sounds really weird, but when you look at when we've played Liverpool this season, when we've played Man City, when we've played United, we've done well in the games. when we've played Crystal Palace and Leeds and out of form Leicester, we've done really poorly. So I think we need that big name to sort of gear up the thing. But if that goes wrong, right, this is the point I was getting to before I got sidetracked. If that goes wrong and we lose a few games, I think we'll plummet down the table. Because you've got a very small squad. You've got a manager who is playing Ryan Fredericks. Why? As soon as I see he started, because Suval was out injured, I was like, we deserve to lose this game. And I think we all know West Ham fans can be quite fickle, but I think David Moyes is going to feel the wrath of the fan base potentially in full force if he doesn't pull something out of his arse in the next 4 weeks.
Yeah.
There's already lots of grumblings from people who were sort of really like Moyes him, defending him beyond belief when he came in. I was one of those people. And even I'm going, is he become a bit too stubborn to do this? Because I think that was his downfall at Sunderland. That was his downfall at Manchester United. That was his, when he went, I think it was Seville, that was his downfall there. He came with us and was stubborn and got on working hard. But then you need something else. You need to build on that. You can't just go, well, we'll work hard. Yeah, but once you've given a little bit of success, you then need to add to the squad and bring in the quality that will work hard. But I feel like he could go at the end of the season or even before. If we plummet, I think they'll sack him. My honest opinion.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, you think the trouble is... Go on.
I was just going to say, I think it would be a bit harsh because considering how well you played last year, and I'd say on the majority of your performance this year, I think have been fairly solid.
Yep.
I wouldn't necessarily say you're overachieving, but I suppose very correctly. It would depend on what happens over the next few weeks.
I'll put it this way to you. We haven't had a out-and-out striker for over a year. 3 transfer windows we've been through now. Because we sold Haller last January.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't replace him. And, I mean, he should have been got rid of. He was shit. But in the summer, we didn't replace him. We've now just done another January. We've not replaced him. So you think, how can you be fighting for 4th place, be fighting for Europe, be still in the FA Cup, and not have a single striker in the team? And go, oh yeah, our Jared Bowen's the perfect backup to Antonio as a striker. It's like, well, neither of them are strikers, so no, it's not. That's not good enough.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just like that annoyed that the January transfer window annoyed people. And just say, if Manchester United have overtaken us, if you overtake us, we lose to Wolves and they overtake us, we've gone from 4th to what, 8th? No. 4th, 5th, 6th, yeah, to 8th. In a matter of 2 weeks. And then we get knocked out the Europa League, and then we get knocked out the FA Cup. What's there to look forward to? The team's out of form. We've got no new players. We've got a load of deadwood. I've sort of half thought out a video. I've been looking at contracts of players. We've got about 8 players out of contract in the summer. So for any of those 8 players, are there any players that you would keep? 1.
Okay.
Ben Johnson, but he's fallen out of favour with the manager. So it's like, well, if he's fallen out of favour with the manager, it's another young prospect that will leave on a free.
Yeah.
And that's painful. You think he's got the potential. Okay, he may not be the best in the world, but certainly the best right back we've seen since Zabaleta, and he was past his best. You know what I mean? But he can play centre back, he can play midfield, he can play left back. He's predominantly a right back. He's versatile. He's young. He wants to play football. He throws him out of squad. And you don't know what goes on the training grounds, but
yeah,
come on, really? If he's putting in results, surely you give him a little bit of leeway and get Mark Noble and a couple of the other senior players to say have a word, because he's only going to be in my good graces for so long. But yeah, it's just I think he's lost it a little bit. I like Moyes, but his average finish for Everton was 7th, and I think that's where West Ham will end up, which is not bad, but we've had a little tipple, a little suckle on the teat of success, and we want more. I mean, you can't go around saying you're massive if you ain't got a striker, can you? Come on.
Well, just think how massive you would be if you did have one.
If we right, here's the thing. January, we should have gone out and bought a striker. We was in the perfect position. We were 4th, and we were still in every competition. We'd knocked out the holders, Man City, at the League Cup. No one had beat them in 4 years in that competition. Did we? No. Like, I'm very much like we had discussions before about financial fair play and that maybe that'll level the playing field, but then you have to look at training grounds and things like that. West Ham's training ground looks like it's from the 80s, right? Compared to everyone else in the Premier League and even Championship clubs. And that, yes, they have spent money on it, but not in the right places. What is there to attract people to play for West Ham? Oh, potentially we're going to get Champions League football this year. Oh, we're in Europe. Oh, we're in the League Cup. That's all dwindling. And then you go, oh, come to us because we've got a fucking sarcastic, fickle fan base that thinks we're massive. Like, I don't know who you'd get in to replace him. Probably bring in Mourinho. Win an FA Cup then at least.
Or Conte.
Well, yeah, I don't think they actually want to spend money though, do they? So we ain't going to get a big. Bring back Pellegrini. No, he was shit. But yeah, has there been any controversies? Put my teeth back in. Any controversies in terms of VAR this week, Mike?
I have watched or been looking at the ref watch to have a look at some of the decisions. Obviously, we had the Manchester City penalty for, I think it was Romero, went down in the box.
Yep.
Unnatural hand position. No complaints on that one.
Yep.
That was given.
We see that one, didn't we?
Yes. Yeah, we watched it live, motherfucker. And then I have seen something about an elbow in the Manchester United Leeds game. I think it's Koch or Cock, whatever his name is.
Robin Koch.
Yeah, he got elbowed in the head, and they were saying that they don't think it was malicious.
He got elbowed in the head, or elbowed somebody in the head.
No, he got elbowed in the head
by
Scott McTominay.
Scott McTominay. I don't know. I think on his day, McTominay can throw a few elbows about. He's a tidy little player, but he ain't afraid of throwing it about. I thought you said it was Harry Maguire trying his off the top rope again.
No.
But, okay.
No,
I've not seen that one, so I can't comment.
What else have we got here? The handball. Apparently, it was a penalty award. A penalty investigation for Aston Villa against Watford. Apparently, it wasn't enough to overturn the decision. But yeah, that's about it, really. I think that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And then we get into Scottish football. No one cares about that.
No one cares about Scottish football. It's not even worth having a ref. Just have a fight. Yeah, so well, if that's the case, and there isn't any extra news, because I don't think we haven't gone to war. No one's gone to war with Ukraine yet. No, with Russia over Ukraine.
I do have one bit of extra news.
Go on, what's your extra news?
First time I think that I've actually had something. Jack Wilshere signed for a club.
Has he?
Yes.
Has he re-signed for Arsenal?
No.
Because there was that rumour going around because he appeared with a squad number the other day, didn't he?
Yeah, he's no, he hasn't re-signed for us. Apparently he's joined some Danish team.
Oh, Ostuens, is it?
No, I couldn't even tell you. Yeah, but he's now got a club. Here we go. Danish Superliga club AGF.
Never heard of him. Good on him. Good on him. I hope he gets a decent run. If he's playing for a club, then surely that makes him eligible for an England call-up.
Potentially.
I mean, I don't want to rock the boat, but he's better than Henderson, even injured.
It depends how he gets on, I suppose. But yeah, so all the best, Jackie boy.
Yeah. No, I like it. He's played for both clubs now. So we'll let him off.
Yep.
But yeah, okay. Well, until next week, make sure you subscribe. Check out Jack Wilshere's new club. Find out who they are. And we will see you next week.
Thanks very much.